I want to move on to a topic that's it's a bit sensitive, the issue of mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month as well, and you've been quite vocal on your social media about your own personal experiences.
Oh yeah, mine, I have a lot.
You have a lot and you have the floor. I mean, people underestimate the effort needed to be an athlete at the top.
Yep. And
the toll it takes on you. Tell us about the toll it took on you.
The toll it took on me, first of all, I was diagnosed as bipolar almost three years ago, I think. But before that, I think it has been manifesting in parts of my life without me knowing. And I think it started a bit earlier, as I was said, when I was in Kisii High School. I remember I was bullied a lot. I was bullied a lot. So there was this time I was in Form 2. I snapped and I ran away from school. I didn't run away to go home. So I ran away, took a bus from Kisii High School, came to Nairobi. That time we were staying at Kiambu. But I came to Nairobi and then I lived in the streets for 6 days. So I remember it was, what's the name of that market? Is it Marikiti or that? There's that farmer's market. Yeah. That's where we used to sleep. There were these lorries from Tanzania that used to bring oranges. So at night we used to go put the cartons underneath the lorries, take a nap over there. When it's too cold, there are these buses that are overnight buses, so you go close to the exhaust pipe, you warm yourself over there. So after 6 days, when I got back to my senses, I had made a few street kids. That's why up to today, my view on street kids is totally different apart from others. I see them as other people just undergoing different challenges like every other one. So I had run out of money, but one of them had like 30 bob. I was like, okay, that time we had these payphones. I was like, okay, let me call my dad. So I called my dad. I told him, okay, this is what happened. I've been here for 6 days. So he sent out a search party. And then I just bumped into my uncle. I think there are like 10 people looking for me in the city. I bumped into my uncle, took me home. I had a shower and then went back to school. And that's just one of the way it kind of manifests itself until I was diagnosed like three years ago. And since I've been on medication, it has been well. But I've been through ups and downs, self-harm. I've tried suicide once. I slit my arm a couple of times. As you can see, I have 32 stitches over here. And with this one, I remember I didn't even use a knife. I took a easy tile because I like these DUIs things. So I had this piece of porcelain tile, so I just broke it on the table and then slit my arms, and there was no pain. At that point, as in the pain you're going inside, you actually feel like exerting some external pain on yourself so that you can feel like you're actually living. You're actually human. So it has taken quite a toll in my professional career. My relationship has been on and off until it stabilized when I started going to therapy, got my meds, and yeah, I'm just glad I came out on the other side alive.
But it did affect your rugby career as well?
It affected my rugby career. I remember there was a time I had just recovered from a broken foot. So and then I was selected to travel for the next tour. I had lots of self-doubts in myself. At that time, bipolar, you go through these periods of manic and depression. I was on a proper depressive phase. So I remember the night before the tournament, I just decided, okay, that's when I decided I'm not going to go. So I just closed myself in my room, got a bottle of a drink, drank. And then in the mornings when my friend, I think Eden, was like, Ombachi, let's just go. But so he managed to convince me, but I really didn't want to go. Even despite being shortlisted, my name was there, the ticket was booked. I was like, I really don't want to leave this house. I don't want to go. I don't want to see people. But anyway, I left. I went to the airport. Good thing at that point, Namcos, Innocent Simi was in charge. So we had a talk with him at the airport. I told him what's happening. He's quite an understanding guy. Actually, he's seen me, like with my condition, I've been on and off. I've talked to him, and he's been sort of like a father. He's been very understanding. So he was like, okay, you need maybe to take a break. So at that point, I hadn't started seeing therapists or anyone. So that's the first time. After that is when I went to see my first therapist. So of which was a misdiagnosis. So my first diagnosis was depression. So I was given antidepressants, which were actually making my bipolar conditions even worse.
Oh no.
Yeah, so until now I went for the second therapist, of which is my friends. Actually, my friends and family are the ones who have seen me through this. Because I'm a stubborn guy. I really don't like seeing therapists. So they took me again to another hospital. I saw a therapist for like I was admitted for 2 weeks, and that's when they said, yours is bipolar 2, you experience periods of mania and depression. And from that day onwards, it's been quite, I won't say easy, challenging, but now managing the condition is a bit easy, especially with the meds. It's easy now.
When you were actually going through it, because I know it's only recently that people have started talking about mental health in a way that we're trying to understand it. But what we were reading from the other side as fans are like, Ombachi's irresponsible,
yeah, exactly.
He's problematic,
Yeah,
he's missing
exactly.
flights, he's not honoring call-ups.
Uh,
And yet we didn't understand.
What people don't understand is like, and I won't blame them because
Nobody's talking about it.
nobody's talking about it. Nobody knows what you're going through. At that point, I also didn't know what I was going through. So I think it would have been easier for me had it been, let's say, demystified. And for the, even apart from, let's say, focusing on the players' development, skill-wise, strength-wise, if we also had mental coaches or, let's say, psychologists in duty, because I'm not the only one who's going through the same, because we usually say nobody is normal. We all swing somewhere in terms of insanity. So had it been diagnosed earlier, I think I would have had a superb career. I have zero regrets. I think I would have had a better one had I managed to control my condition a bit earlier on. But right now, what I will say, the changes that can be made is to basically get the conversation out there, get especially these young players, because the older you get, the harder it is to manage the condition. If these young guys can be introduced into mental health a bit earlier, you can be able to pick them like when they're still young.
Because I'm sure, as you say, you're not the only one. So maybe there are players there right now who don't even know they have a problem. They just think maybe they're moody, they're tired, they're not focused.
There are players. I've also a few even from a few close friends from the team, from the national team, have approached me. I've talked to them. I've managed to lead them the right way. So people are going through it out there because it's not a rare condition. It's just not a talked about condition. So they just need understanding, help, and it's manageable. It's just like a headache. You have a headache, you have your meds, you will be fine.
Especially men, because there's this thing of men thinking I don't want to look as like I'm weak. But it's actually, for me, it's actually a sign of strength to come out and admit that this is what you're going through. It's
hard coming out. Even for me, before it came out, I was like, how are people going to see me? But then I was like, no one is feeding me, so I don't care as long as I help, because at the end of the day, I just want to help. Even if it's a single person, one or two, that's good for me.
And I think you do. By talking about it, I think you do. But it's also a lesson to Kenyans about bullying. You know, I mean, at least you're in a place right now where you're bullied on social media, you can handle it.
Yeah,
but imagine a young or if it happened to you like 5-6 years ago when you didn't understand your own condition, you know, and then people are there on social media just
it gets worse.
Bullying.
For me now, like the bullying I can take it, but
now you're well, I don't want to say now you're a man, because that's the attitude that makes people not speak up.
Not speak up. Like now I know how to protect myself like from these trolls, but not everyone out there can do that.
Yeah.
So it's all about, I think, first of all, educating the masses about mental health, because especially on my social media, I get plenty and plenty of DMs until I can't catch up. Like, oh, my sister is going through this. Oh, can you lead me to like a therapist? But also at the end of the day, like managing the condition is not that cheap. So if these sessions, these institutions can, if there's a way it can be made affordable for, because like I've spent over $500,000 trying to manage the conditions, over $500,000, and that's not something affordable for everyone outside there. So first of all, if it can be made affordable, then people can come out, because there's no point of coming out and saying, oh, it's these and these, okay, and then you're directed to this place and then you can't afford it. So what's the point of it? I'd rather just keep quiet with my condition. So it's about making it affordable, and I think that's where the government can also come in.
Within the rugby fraternity, as you say, you wish you had certain counselors or therapists or within the rugby coaching.
Yeah, the coaching team.
Is it something? Is it there now? Do you know whether it's there now?
We've had them on and off. I remember there was a time we had a psychologist, but at that point, she didn't manage to stay long enough for even me to open up. I was like, okay, maybe this is a good thing. So I opened up a bit, and then the services were kind of taken off. So I think that's something.
It's not an easy thing to just, I meet you the first day and I'm
exactly
about
it needs to be something that's there. The same way you go there every day, you know you have a team manager. So you know, if let's say you're stuck in terms of fare, you'll speak to the team manager. So if that position is there constantly, the more comfortable you'll feel with the person. You'll feel the person is like part of the family, because like now, like the whole ecosystem, we are like family. Like, you know, the coach will always be there for me. My captain will always be there for me. But if you only have, let's say, a therapist that comes in for a month, he's a stranger or she's a stranger, she's an outsider, I'll never open up to that person.
Yeah, well, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to the rugby union. It's a challenge to all the sporting federations.
It's hard.
Get somebody who can support the players and even the coaches mentally.
Even the coaches. Everyone is going through. Everyone needs mental support. Everyone needs mental support.